Melanie, would you say early on that like longevity of customer was a focus for you?
Well, when you come into direct sales, and even for me, I really needed to acquire customers because I didn't have any customers. So it was such a big undertaking to learn how to acquire customers. And there is this sort of, for me, there was this every single month you need to get new. Pull up a cup of coffee and let's get this party started.
We're the uplines you didn't know you needed, but now you have.
This is the podcast for women who are building a direct sales business but want to do it the right way.
Melanie has a decade of experience in direct sales. She's earned the top in industry 4 years in a row and has grown a multi-million-dollar organization. She gives a no BS approach to leadership, recruitment, and organization.
And my bestie Katie has you covered with the rest. From the relationships, the do's and don'ts of branding, her content has been viewed by millions. She doesn't just talk the talk, but she teaches people how to create an intentional brand too.
All right, let's get this party started.
Well, hey everybody, it is Melanie Mitro and Katie Ersta, and we're so excited to be here with you guys on the Direct Sales Done Right podcast, and we're in a different location. So if you are actually watching this on YouTube right now, you can see that we're hanging out just in a different setting. We wanted to switch things up. We wanted to really kind of bring our personalities into the podcast and really begin to share a little bit of just like who we are as people. Even though we're your business mentors, we want you to know that we're two moms, wives, friends that are navigating, building businesses, and also trying to do life and really show up as the best humans possible, which is not an easy feat.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
All right. This is a random question, but did your kids take your kid to work day today? Did they stay home with you today?
No. I didn't even know that was a thing today.
It is a thing. Today is take your kid to work today.
I see that your kids are not in the house.
They're
right
not
now.
Because neither one of them wanted to stay and film because they were afraid they would have to be on camera.
Oh, that makes sense to me. So they went to school.
So they went with Aunt Mo.
Oh.
So they are teaching first graders, which I feel like being with us would have been a better option, but that's all right. Here we are. All right. So today we're going to dive into today's episode. We're talking about keeping your customers close and our best practices for direct sellers. But before we dive into that, we always like to open up our podcast by shouting out some of our listeners, people that tag us on social, leave us rating and reviews. And so we're going to head on over to iTunes right now, and we're going to read a review from Barb Road. And she said about the Direct Sales Done Right podcast that grateful for Melanie and Katie using their years of experience and sharing their love and talents with the world. Their love for what they do is contagious and a true joy to listen to. I've gotten a lot of listening and implementing to do. Thank you, ladies. So we love to read your reviews. And also, when you leave us a review on iTunes, if you can just take a quick second, head on over there, leave us a rating and review. We might read yours live here on the podcast, but it helps our podcast be found by other direct sellers that are trying to improve their business as well. And then we also have our listener of the week, and this actually comes from our Instagram account. So we love it when you guys tag us when you're watching an episode or listening and tell us what your biggest takeaway is, because we like to reshare that. We also like to hop in the DMs and chat with you. And we also pick one person that shares the podcast on social to do a little mini coaching session right in Instagram DMs. And this week, our listener of the week is Rebecca Rust. So Rebecca, if you are listening right now, if you can just send us a direct message at Chic Influencer, we will set that up with you. So let's get started.
So this week, we're going to actually dive into customer service. And I always feel like when I even say the words customer service, people just kind of like glaze over. They go, oh yeah, of course I have to serve people well.
Yeah.
And they don't really like think of how much income can be lost because we don't make it almost a primary focus in our business. Like one of the most important aspects of our direct selling business is not just bringing on customers, but keeping those customers on to the point where they become spokespeople for what we do. And we're going to give you really 3 considerations for excellent service that also kind of serve as a gut check. So not that we're trying to hurt any feelings or anything, but this was such a gut check for both of us in our direct sales business, because Melanie, would you say early on that like longevity of customer was a focus for you?
Well, when you come into direct sales, and even for me, I really needed to acquire customers because I didn't have any customers. So it was such a big undertaking to learn how to acquire customers. And there is this sort of, I mean, for me, there was this every single month you need to get new. You need to have new customers, right? And so
in our company, their big benchmark wasn't on residual and it wasn't on longevity. It was really on attaining.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that you didn't make money on retention because you got paid on your commissions. It's just that there was such a big focus on acquisition, on getting new people signed up every single month. And what happens is you get to the end of the month and you get your new customers, then you're already thinking about who are going to be the new customers next month.
Yeah.
And then customer service, and when we say customer service, it's like how you actually serve your people well so that they fall in love with you and the products and they actually want to come back for more.
Right.
That was like an afterthought. It was like on to the next. And that wasn't to be rude, but it's just not something that was emphasized.
Yes.
So at first, no. But then I think we're going to talk about that eventually.
Yeah, and I will. I'll dive into that today. I really want you to take a look at your business. So before we even give you these tips and these considerations for excellent service, I want you to actually ask yourself, what is my focus when it comes to customers? Is it the acquisition? Do I put, if you had to put a percentage to it, what would it be? Like 80% of my customer focus is on new acquisition. So you're thinking about what you're posting, you're thinking about your marketing, you're thinking about your content strategy, or is it that you're focusing on your customers who are currently being served and making sure that you're retaining them because you've already kind of done the work to get them in the first place. So we're going to really challenge you to start thinking about some of the practices you might have in place for customer acquisition and I would say more importantly, customer retention. But I want to start by sharing in a book that I read. It was a speaker. We had gone to a conference. I guess this was about a year ago. His name is Jeff Henderson, and he spent time as in the marketing department of Chick-fil-A. So he clearly knows what it's like to serve people really, really well. And he wrote, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. It's true for you. It's true for me. It's true for every one of your customers. We sometimes forget on the other end of a transaction is a person who's invested their hard-earned money in what we have to offer." And according to Jeff, he says that people won't care if 74% of the brands they used just disappeared. And only 7% of the brands they use, they believe actually make their life better. I don't know about you, but that is a gut check. If you really think about the people that you serve, if 74% of them were like, I actually don't really care about her products and services anymore or what happens to her business, that makes you go, ooh, I don't like the way that feels. So I don't want to be part of those percentages. I personally feel like creating a memorable experience for people, not just selling them a product or signing them up really quickly, makes a huge difference in our business. And so today, what we're going to do is we're going to give you 3 key considerations when it comes to customer service.
I love it. I love it. And I'm just like, all the thoughts are going through my mind as I'm sitting here because I don't want our listeners to go, oh my gosh, client acquisition is not important anymore. It's only customer service. This is important to know. You need each piece, and you hear us talk about the healthy pipeline. It's something we teach in our Direct Sales Done Right Academy. There has to be there's principles in each bucket, and if you are missing one of them, you're sort of missing this well-rounded strategy, wouldn't you say? Like you do need to have something in each key area.
And just for reference too, because you mentioned the healthy pipeline, there are episodes where we talk about the healthy pipeline, but just for reference, first you have your followers. These are people you work towards acquiring them as customers, creating connection, cultivating a community. And then you have your first-time customers who you really want to see the value of the products, the services, and the experience that you offer. But those are the people that you eventually want to move into a loyal customer category and then eventually turn into team members or just raving fans about what you do. But today's focus is really about taking those first-time customers and turning them into loyal customers. These are your hype squad. These are the people that love what you do. And these ultimately are a lot of the people in our own organizations who became members of our team and became lovers of the products and the opportunity too.
And I will say we both were really excellent at customer service. Like that was a top priority.
Well, I wouldn't say was. I would say we still are, even at Chic
so
Influencer.
Indirect sales, you know, but yes, even today, we always are talking about how do we serve our people well. And sometimes I think we definitely over deliver, but it's important. Again, that's what make people say add to cart or whatever you're recommending. I will purchase because they just trust you. They know your heart. So really, the first key consideration for excellent customer service is to actually think about the moment that somebody signs on with you. They make that purchase and they're officially your customer. Is what is that experience look like? What does that experience look and feel like? So when you think about whatever the price tag is on the thing, the item that somebody is purchasing, first thing you want to do is know that if it's a big price tag, people can sometimes panic. And so we have to immediately reassure them that they've made the right decision, that we were the right person for them to sign up with. So what that can look like is we're sending a welcome message. And we have automated systems that we've set up for this, but as a new social seller, direct seller, this can be very simple. Once a day, you're checking into your portal, your online portal, and you are going through. Somebody made a purchase. I'm going to send them a message. I am going to thank them for their purchase. And then maybe if it's something that requires additional information, maybe somebody bought a makeup palette from you and you know that they're going to get it in 5 to 7 days, but maybe you want to say to them, here's a great video for you to watch about the makeup you're about to get. And so it just sort of primes them. Or maybe you also have a customer VIP group that you house inside of a closed Facebook group where you want to welcome your new customer. So maybe in that welcome email, you're saying you should expect to get your product in 5 to 7 days. Here's a quick little video to watch, and I'd love to welcome you into my customer VIP group. You may also then go over to Facebook and take their photo and make a little welcome graphic and introduce them into that VIP group, where you might have just additional tutorials and information that helps your product users get the best experience possible. Also, something else you can do is sending a personalized note. There is nothing better than getting mail and really getting, and we
snail mail.
Snail mail, I know. And I know people say, oh, that's dying, but it's definitely not at all. And we have a really great friend who is amazing at this. And she will write these thank you letters and stick an extra sample in there. And she'll send that out to other people. And so that's just another special touch. People know they're seen, they're noticed, their purchase mattered. It just sort of makes them feel just a little better about the investment that they just made. And I also kind of said this too, is that sample, like sending a sample in terms of, maybe if there is something that would complement what they just purchased, allows them to sort of try other products in the product catalog. So really for you, it can be any of those things. It can also be a voice note. It can be a text message, but we really want you to think about what's going to be the first touch point that you have with the new customer when they make a purchase from your business.
Yeah. So you make it almost procedural. So just as you create a process for somebody coming on board of using your products, and this isn't the episode we'll discuss what happens when somebody joins your team, but when somebody uses your products, this is something that if you're leading an organization, you want to be able to teach your team that you're doing it so that they duplicate that. Now let's talk about following up with a client after they've ordered or a product or an experience that you offer, a service that you offer. In our case, when I worked in direct sales, I know that we had a process for follow-up that was relatively simple because we ran groups. So if somebody purchased a product from us, they would go into a group where they would receive continual support. I realized that not all direct sales companies are really designed like that, and it's not really necessary for all of our products, but there is still a follow-up protocol that I would highly suggest. So the first thing that I would do is when you know that your client gets the product, are you checking in with them? Are you asking the very basic question of, hi, checking in. How are you? Super basic, but you want to get to know how that person is liking the product. Let's say it is like the nail. I forget what it's called. It's like the nail stickers. Color Street. So let's say it's Color Street. And I don't know about you, but the first time I ever tried Color Street, I was a mess. Like I had everything everywhere and I couldn't figure it out. But thank goodness I had a really great consultant who gave me some tips and tricks to be able to use the product more effectively and save me a lot of time in how I was using it too. And so if you're thinking about the follow-up, you almost want to think about being one step ahead. What are the anticipated struggles that somebody might endure when it comes to the product? Another consideration, let's say you have a supplement and the supplement is all natural and somebody who is using that supplement isn't used to an all natural way of life. Well, their taste buds are going to be different. And so when they use the product, they might go, oh my gosh, this tastes like chalk. Like, I don't like how this tastes. I don't like this. Can you anticipate that? Can you be one step ahead of them and almost acknowledge like, hey, what's your experience with it? Here's some feedback about that as well. The second suggestion I have when it comes to following up with somebody is if you do not already have some type of VIP group in place, like Melanie suggested, put one in place. This is a great place for you to do giveaways, to let your people know of any upcoming products, to check in, to give people an opportunity to showcase how they're using the product, to highlight them and to make them the focus. Remember, when it comes to your products and services, it's not about what you think of the products, it's about what your customer experiences with the products as well as with your service. So I want to keep that at the forefront of your mind as well. And then the last suggestion I have with really serving people well when they're beginning to use the products that you have is to provide additional tips and strategies or troubleshoot anything that may be coming up as well. I also suggest at this point is if there is additional products that you offer that may be really beneficial to the product that they're already using, it's okay to upshare and to allow yourself to share why this product may be a great complement to what they're already using for you as well. At this point, you're just really focusing on building up the trust that's already been put there. It's almost like those marbles in a jar, right? You keep putting marbles into the jar of trust. And then as that trust grows, people go, I really enjoy the experience, not just the products of working with the distributor.
Right. And then I think too, that really flows nicely into the next part is, what can people expect when they're using the products? And so you kind of alluded to this, when you were just talking. But for example, I remember personally that when I first started using the shake that our company had to offer, I literally, and you have it sitting over there. Here, give me your cup real quick. Give me your cup. So I literally took the powder and stuck the powder in. Then I dumped the water on top and then I put the little shaker thing on, right? And then I closed it and I shook it up and there was this much of powder still left in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So I'm shaking it up and I'm drinking it and like chunks of the powder were getting stuck in my teeth. And I was like, this is the nastiest thing that I've ever had in my entire life. And I remember thinking, what the heck did I just spend all this money on? And so I reached out to the person that I had signed up with and purchased from. And she was like, oh, no. You need to put it in a blender. She's like, and you never put the powder in first. You fill up the water if you're going to shake it. And then you put your water in. You put your water in and then your powder. And she's like, but you should really blend it. And you should put a few pieces of ice in. You should do half water, half almond milk. And if you put in a half a banana, it makes it smoother. And she gave me all these pieces of advice. If you want it to be like a milkshake, you put in more ice. If you want it to be more like chocolate milk, it's less ice, more water. And so all of those things, I'm so glad she was there to walk me through that process, because I very easily could have returned the bag and said, that's it, I don't want to use it. But so what that did for me is that made me actually say, what are my customers going to do when they get their first order? And I thought, okay, I'm actually going to create a PDF. And I think at the beginning, it was just an email. I still remember the videos in my townhouse, in the kitchen. I'd set up my camera and to record myself making it and giving tutorials and giving the tips. And so I want you to anticipate, maybe based on your own personal experience, what can your customers expect? And can you help them to hedge off any problems that they might have? Likewise, you mentioned earlier, somebody might have not be used to all those vitamins and nutrients. Well, if it's causing somebody to have stomach discomfort, or if they're using a new skincare line and your skin actually breaks out before it gets better because it's pulling out the impurities, you may want to tell your customers that it right away so that they don't think that something's wrong with your product, return it or stop using it. So you're really beginning to say, what can they expect? And how can they sort of troubleshoot along the way? And we're going to kind of go into that next in terms of like, how do you handle that stuff? But even just thinking about what can people expect through the process and what can I do to just make sure that they have more of a seamless experience and minimize maybe the problems that we experienced at the beginning too.
I think that's a great point. I also want to explain too that this is also a good time for you, if you're not familiar with the products that you're endorsing, to familiarize yourself with the products that you are endorsing. So if there is feedback in your online portal about what customers can expect, and maybe you're newer or you just haven't had those type of experiences, it's probably a good idea to go back and to look at other expectations when using the products too. All right. Okay. So the last thing is when the poop hits the fan, right? Because sometimes it does. I will never forget this. This is actually a really, really kind of comical story now at this point, but a long time ago, a distributor in my organization, she was brand new. She had a neighbor who had ordered the product, and it was nutritional shakes. And somehow his order got messed up, and it was, instead of one order, it was 10. And so on his front porch was a stack of 10 boxes of the product.
Oh my gosh.
And she drives by and she sees it and she was like, holy crap, like why? So she calls him and she's like, hey, I noticed you have about 10 boxes of the product on your porch. And he was furious. He was just like, that wasn't supposed to happen. So So anyway, so they get it straightened out. They ship back. She like takes on the shipping fee on her own because of the issue. And then the next month, it happened again. And she said, Katie, I remember driving by his porch and just shrinking in my car, like going, oh gosh, please no, please no, please no. And they were all there. And he calls her and he's like, scathing because of this. So she gets on the phone with customer service, and as her upline, I actually got on the phone with customer service, and we got actually corporate involved with it because it was a huge mess. But my whole point of telling you this is you cannot expect that everything is going to be perfect, and you cannot expect that everybody is going to love your product, and you cannot always control customer service. I know that for me, I didn't always have great customer service with the company I was with. So with that being said, I kind of want to take a couple things into consideration about what you can do when things don't go the way that you plan. So the first thing is identify how you want to handle customer complaints. It's one thing to just go back and forth in an email, but I really would encourage you, as much as this might intimidate you, to pick up the phone. To pick up the phone and to talk to the customer and to say, what's the experience? And if you can intervene when it comes to that experience with working with maybe customer service, intervene on their behalf. The other thing is follow up with the customer if the order wasn't what they expected. I know that probably both of us have had experiences where somebody ordered something, but it wasn't what they really wanted, and you have to kind of take it back, and it's a whole process. So you want to make sure that you follow up to make sure it's exactly what the client wants. And if it wasn't, intervene and get it straightened out. Anytime, I kind of have this philosophy, anytime I can kind of do the work on behalf of the customer to make it a better experience for them, I do. So I will do the work for the customer, because that, to me, is part of the investment of working with a distributor. They didn't just order a product online, they ordered it from me. So the expectation is I need to make sure that I'm delivering on my part of customer service, especially if that means I need to intervene on their behalf. And I want to go above and beyond to give them a great experience, whether that is getting on a 3-way call with the customer service line as well as the customer. If somebody isn't happy with the product, I'm going out of my way. And then again, after it's all straightened out, I'm probably going to follow up with them to make sure that they feel confident and comfortable with how it was closed out, how the situation was resolved. So I know that I have also created PDFs. We have created videos that we would want to make sure that the customer really loved exactly what they were getting and what they could expect from it. And if it wasn't that, then we go back and straighten it out so that they feel good. Because even if they never order a product from us again, but they had a great service experience, chances are higher that they're still going to speak of the service that we offered them. So when I think about these things, and just to recap what they were, we talked about how to really make sure your customers are getting a great experience. So what was the first? The first was, what does it look like when somebody signs up with us? Mm-hmm. The second was making sure that we're following up before and during the customer experience. The third was making sure that they know exactly what to expect when they use the product, or if there's anything that might go a little haywire, what they should expect with that. And then finally, just talking about what to do when trouble arises and making sure that the customer service experience is exceptional throughout. So we covered a lot in this episode.
We did.
You want to close it out?
I do. It was, at the end of the day, making a memorable experience is the most important thing that you can do in your business. And I always think about it this way. When I am a happy customer, I am more likely to go to my friends and say, you have to try this product. It is so amazing. And you have to work with so-and-so because they really answer your questions, make you feel comfortable, troubleshoot any problems, go over and above. And so that's also you're not just retaining customers when you act this way, but you're also creating customers who actually go out and sing your praises, which makes acquiring new customers that much easier. And I know that from my own business, people inside of my customer groups were referring their friends and their neighbors because of the experience that they were having with me. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, we just want you to take a step back. We want you to start thinking about what your customer experience is going to be like so you can create raving fans and really strengthen your direct sales business. Now, we want to close it out by just sharing a testimonial from one of our current customers inside of Chic Influencer. And so this customer actually is a part of the Rockstar Recruitment course that I run multiple times a year. And she said, I left my company after 10 years. She said it was the in-home party style, and she joined a company that is a better fit for her. And she plugged into the Rockstar Recruitment course, and she has rank advanced 4 times since joining in January. She hit a lull in her business in March, and then went on to do the Direct Sales Done Right Academy and has enrolled 3 customers in just 1 week. So this was from Kirsten Krim.
That's wonderful.
Yes,
very cool.
Exciting stuff. So you guys, we're so happy to have you here, and we always like to leave you with like a truth bomb of the week. So I'm gonna toss that over to you if you want it. I threw her right on the spot for sure.
I love that it says at the end of this podcast, truth bomb of the week, but then nothing is written. Oh, you have what it takes. You just can't give excuses. I'm going to leave it at that because I actually didn't see that, but that works too. So you guys have a great week. We'll see you next time on the Direct Sales Done Right podcast.
All right, so if you loved today's episode, make sure you head over to wherever you listened to the episode today and leave us a rating and review. And also take a little screenshot and tag us on Chic Influencer. We'll feature you in our stories. Plus, we'd love to get your feedback and hear from our listeners.
Until next week, let's make chic happen.